Well, good morning to you all. Tony Virtue speaking, Virtue and Partners, with our regular monthly update. And first up, let's just congratulate all our Olympians, doing us proud over in Paris, and wonderful for the community to see, just see some success, see people living their dreams there. So congratulations to you all, whether you won or whether you didn't. As you probably expect, after quite a strong run of new records, particularly in America on the equity markets, quite a rough week last week. Look, the start of this was the Japanese, only for the second time in 17 years, lifting their interest rates. Now, why did they do that when everyone else is dropping them? Well, in part, those of you who've travelled to Japan know just how cheap it is at the moment. And there was a thing called a carry trade. So you go and buy assets using Japanese money with very, very low interest, if any interest, and then invest that back into other countries with a higher interest rate. So colloquially known as a carry trade. Well, that got knocked on the head. At the same time, probably fairly predictably, the US market came off 5–6%. There's an index called the VIX, the Volatility Index, which kind of went up and then went down again. There's some debate about the makeup of that index. Long and the short of that is when things get quite stressful, there's a lot of automated trading, and that pushes things both up and down disproportionately. So it was a pretty rough Friday, Monday, but after that, markets recovered fairly quickly and recovered about half of that as I speak, with markets expecting quite a rally this week. At the same time, the British have dropped their rates, the Canadians have dropped their rates, Europeans have dropped their rates, the Kiwis have dropped their rates. The expectation is the Americans, which is really the big gorilla, in September. There's a lot of angst going on in Australia as to when we will drop rates, which I'll talk to in a moment. But that will happen, whether it's sooner rather than later. And at this stage, possibly 6 falls down to the bottom of the cycle. That would put mortgages in the 4s, 4.5%, etc. there. What's holding things back? And you're hearing this issue of productivity per capita. That is, how hard are we working? How efficient are we in what we're doing compared to other countries? And look, the truth of the matter is, if we took out net migration into Australia at the moment, we are at best treading water. The truth is that we're not as efficient as we should be. Just practical things like getting people back into work, and the New South Wales government, which is the largest employer in Australia, now mandating that people will need to come back to work 5 days a week there. The reality is this: with artificial intelligence, with efficiency coming through, this should be good for everybody, and this should drop interest rates down in due course. We are part of a global economy. As I've said repeatedly, the 6 largest companies in the US index are all individually bigger than Australia. So we can't just be an island in what we're doing. We need to embrace productivity and go from there. As part of that, we need to sort out supply issues in building properties. State government now has indicated that they will allow more high density closer to our train stations. This again should create more supply. We just got to kind of speed up this entire process, and I think that really is the message of today. We just need a bit of a kick up the backside and push a bit harder as a community. But you'd rather be here than anywhere else in the world, and Australia has a lot of very, very natural advantages. Coming into earnings season now, a CBA report on Thursday, the bellwether there. REA's numbers were good, Goodman's numbers were good, JB Hi-Fi numbers were good. So it's certainly not all bad news there. And we rely very heavily on the dividends and franking credits in Australia. With continuous disclosure, we're not expecting too many shocks as we come through into the season there. Finally, security. We're trying to encourage clients to use our secure vaults on our website now. I know it's a bit frustrating getting used to this. It is a fact of life. We need to keep everybody protected. We'll work hard behind the scenes to make this as easy as possible. It's a great privilege to do what we do. We're growing quite well at the moment, But my commitment, as it always was over 35 years, is to your personal service, loyalty, and relying on us to just provide sensible professional advice in all market conditions. Wishing you well, Tony Virtue, when experience pays.